Now, I had the privilege of working with George Marcy in West Side Story, and I had seen him way before that, not way before that, but before that in Top Banana. He is the most outrageously honest performer I have ever known. He's a born ham. He is just made to perform. And Stuart is the Renaissance man of all time here, being in starring in the Martha Graham Company, teaching the Martha Graham technique through a lot of difficult times.
I was never a good enough tap dancer, though.
But you were able to stretch.
Doing tons of Broadway shows, writing. He's an extremely funny writer. He's got a book, well, he's got a few books, but I'm going to read something from one of his things later on. Done tons of Broadway shows. I just don't know how you did it all, how you were part of the Martha Graham Company, and then you would manage to do Kismet and, let's see, what else? Do Re Mi, The King and I, Paint Your Wagon, Once Upon a Map, His First Impressions, and a movie with Esther Williams. So,
the Esther Williams Aqua Spectacle.
Oh, a Joe Beach?
No, in Brooklyn. Oh, God. It was a video. It was a television show.
Ah, terrific! And you got paid a whole lot of money for it, compared to what you got.
Well, actually, I gave up a Martha Graham film, which would have paid me a hot $150. To swim with Esther Williams.
Now, I'm not going to tell you too much about George because you're going to witness this later on, and he's got it all in his act, and it's fantastic. But I know definitely of Top Banana, Damn Yankees, Carnival, West Side Story, Mata Hari, Man of La Mancha, all for Jack Cole. We'll get to Jack Cole in a minute. But I'd like to just... Billy Budd with Grover and
Right.
And anything else.
Yeah.
How did now? These are both Air Force people, so they both got a late start in career. You were with the Air Force, a pilot,
And I was with the infantry.
Okay, give me a little bit about your, or you want to just save it for?
No, this I'm not going to do that little part that I have in the show there.
Okay.
This I'll tell you where I was born. I was brought up in a place called Highland Heights. It was a place for homeless kids. It was during the Depression. My dad died when I was 7. My mother died a year 3 months later. We were all sent up to an orphanage called Highland Heights. When we got there, instead of calling us by names, we were called by numbers. We were numbers, but don't get me wrong, it was a great place. We had everything a kid needed. It was during the Depression, and everything just worked out just beautifully. I mean, we had hills, playgrounds, infirmaries, refectories, classrooms, the church, the chapel.
What was your number?
My number was 49. My brothers were 43 and 42.
That should be his memoir. That should be the title of his memoir.
And did you think in terms of the theater?
The title of my memoir is going to be The Ballad of Georgie Porgy. But there I was up there, and it was an institution, an orphanage, and we had lots of sports, and call it whatever you want, and we played football, soccer, wrestling, jacks, double dutch. We just did everything we could, and we played with the teams in the area. And I was a jock, when I was younger, so the days, But after that, when I got to 16, the place was wonderful, don't get me wrong. It was a great place for kids. They got everything they needed. And we were protected from the outside world during the Depression. It was in New Haven, Connecticut, and it was on 3 hills, And what happened was, when you got 16, they sent us out to foster homes. And they were never, right, because I'm Sicilian, they sent me to Italian homes. And I could tell you stories, but I'll just take one story out where this woman who had a husband and 2 children, and she already had 2 kids from the state, and me and my brother were going out there, so that made it 6. So there was 4 in a room, 2 in a bed, and it was kind of crowded, and we kids never had any privacy. We could never do what we really wanted to do, So living there, it was filthy. It had the bed. There was bed bugs. We used to have 10 in the morning with bed bug bites and roaches and all that kind. That's what I had to go through, and I really didn't want to talk about it anymore. But anyway, after that, the Army took hold of me at 18 when I got into the Army, and I decided that I wanted to be a dancer. But let me get back to Highland Heights. When I got out of the Army, they wrote me a letter saying that it was going to close, that they were tearing the building down. My heart just went right down to my feet when they told me that. And I went up there and visited all the old places and all the memories and everything. It was just absolutely wonderful. I just cried right then and there. Walked out and I came on to the building, March. You know, I came down and I looked at the building and I just got bawled and said, you know, and I thought I heard somebody say, you know, hey George, we had some wonderful times. Hey, number 49, we had some wonderful times, didn't we? And I said, looked around and I thought, who the hell is that? You know, and I looked around, there was nobody there. And then he said, we had some wonderful times, didn't we? And I couldn't imagine. I looked up at this big old cross and it got to me. And I stopped and I looked at the building.
That's a screenplay.
And I said, yeah, we had some wonderful times. And I was talking with the building. That was crazy. And I was having a conversation. So I left, you know, I went on my way, and, you know, and that was the end of that. But then I came to New York, and, you know, in the late 40s, 1949, and said I wanted to be a song and dance man, and there I was. And I knew that when I saw those lights out there, I said, I'm going to spend the rest of my life here. And I did. And look at me, I'm 80. Wow. I'm breathing, and I don't have a walker.